Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this week's episode of Bruffy's Rugby Offload, proudly brought to you in collaboration with Yalla Sports and Alex over there and Grant from FFP Travels, where they're going on the world's greatest adventure. So today's show, we've got a big lineup. We've got the double dose of Doha. We've got Saz giving us the information on the girls' side. Then we've got a couple of guests from the Doha Rugby Club. And then we've got the full wrap-up of the week's scores and a look ahead to next week. Join us and keep watching. Woo! All on the side. Okay, we're going to kick things straight off with Saz's Rugby Offload. Let's get into that.
Well, what's the crack? Hope you're all having a good week. Just rounding up the weekend of rugby. There was a lot on. We had the women's 15s. Quins played X-Saints and Quins came out with a win. I suppose I'll recap that first. I might get a bit of stick for saying it, but I think because it was a slow game, it suited the Quins better to play. I know there was like a million scrums. I'm a forward myself, but I don't know if I would have been down for all of that. I think if it had been a more of a free-flowing game, I think X-Saints might have came out with more on the scoreboard. I think the stop-starting suited Quins, and their dominance in the scrum just helped them get ahead all the time. They had some tries that were probably the miscommunication and maybe lack of attention from X-Saints just cost them a couple of tries. I know there was a tap and go and there must have been a miscommunication. There was a missed tackle then for another try. I don't know, maybe fatigue, and they had the game last weekend, so I suppose Quins had the upper hand as well of not having a game last weekend. They had fresh legs out on the pitch. I think I'm going to say the same from the Phoenix X-Saints games, that the score might not have reflected the actual game itself. There was some really good rugby played. I know there was a couple of new girls on the X-Saints team as well. One of them in particular, I can't remember the number, was it 24 maybe? She had some really good carries, and yeah, I just feel like if it was a more free-flowing game, that the score might have been reflected differently. But that's what rugby is, and Quins took it to their advantage and they came out on top. I was disappointed to see that there was no ARs, no linesmen, especially women's rugby is like up and coming, and all the work that everyone's putting into it all around the world. Just it was a bit disappointing that there was no sidelines people there to assist the referee, and the referee kind of having to make a couple of calls maybe that didn't go either of the team's ways, maybe once or twice. He probably could have done with the backup, but maybe that's just something to look out for in the future. Another great weekend for the women was Muscat have a team back. They have a sevens team. I think they had Sharks. Yeah, they had Sharks over for the weekend. I think they went over on Friday or Saturday and they played a couple of games. Really, really good to see Muscat having a team back. Just means that we all get to play a bit more rugby, and delighted that they got the team back on track. And to host, even if it was a friendly or whatever, I think they had just a pre-season sevens couple of games. It's great to see. It's just great to see women's rugby coming back, especially for Muscat. Hopefully we'll either have them over or we'll travel over or something like that sometime soon, or if not, we'll meet them in the league after Christmas hopefully. So yeah, that was really good to see Muscat back, and they looked like they had a great day. I saw a couple of stories and stuff, so they all had a class day of rugby, and the camaraderie was on form, so I hope they had the crack and looked like there was some good rugby played.
All right, thank you for that, Saz. Now, we'll go into our guest feature. It was recorded on Sunday night, so we've had a little bit of time in between. Here is our guest feature with a couple of boys from Doha. Enjoy. Okay, so we're in for our double dose of Doha. We've got a couple of guests after a very successful weekend. Our first guest is a UAE international now calling Doha home. He's a man who loves three things. He loves downing beverages in every watering hole in the city. He loves lacing up the boots for both club and country, and selling second-hand cars to unsuspecting marks who think they're getting a bargain. All right, so our first guest is Max Johnson. Welcome, Max.
Thank you very much for having me.
And our second guest, we'll tell you his surname in a second, and it definitely matches his position on the field as he is a hooker. He's from the north of England, where scrums are religion and sarcasm is a second language. He's brought his grit to Doha RFC. Off the field, he's shaping young minds as a humanities teacher, which basically means he gets paid to talk about wars, pain, and the human condition. So welcome to from the front row life, Matt Raper.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Hope the introductions weren't too punchy for you, but bad luck. It's my show. All right. So first up, we've got Max. Max, you played for the UAE over the summer. How did that all come about?
So to cut a long story short, I mean, I did all my schooling up till university in the UAE. So I went to Desk. Was lucky enough to play under 20s for them, and then obviously post university, got the job over here in Doha, and then sort of around February time, reached out and said, "Do you want to come over, lace up the boots, give it a crack?" I thought, well, there's not much for me to lose here. Why not go over, chance my arm? And luckily, I was able to get across, play the games with them. And I mean, if you'd have said to me at the start of the year that I'd have played some rugby in Kenya, Uganda, South Korea, I mean, I'd have laughed in your face.
And what an experience! Like, I mean, playing international rugby is just a whole different kettle of fish. It must be a proud moment.
But yeah, it's something interesting. I mean, if you said to me that I'd have played lads that have played in World Cups before, or lads that are playing professionally full time, it's something I would have just said no. That's just not possible. Like, I'm enjoying my rugby over here, but the opportunity arose, and it was something that was definitely something that I was interested in doing, and yeah, it's definitely a proud moment for me.
Yeah, awesome. Mate, it was exciting to see you play out there. And I know 10's that tough position where a lot hangs on you. So that was a really cool thing to see. And then you're over in Doha now. Now, I say you're selling secondhand cars. It's not really true. I know you're doing marketing for a car company, but it sounded better my way. Tell us about your job.
It's sort of a mix of things. I mean, at the minute, I'm dealing with a massive lease contract for the US airbase over here. So trying to obviously it is cars. I wouldn't say I'm a salesman. I don't think I couldn't sell water to a fish. I've got no idea what I'm doing when it comes to that. Yes, I could talk for hours on end, but when it comes to actually, getting something constructive out of it, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just effectively, yeah, doing that over here. Listen, it pays the bills, and I have a good lifestyle, so why not?
Nice. And Matt, how long have you been in Doha?
Fifth year in Doha now, so fifth year Doha, fifth year DRFC as well. So joined roughly same time as Max. We had a good influx of players. Myself, Max, Torres, Mackie. So yeah, been out here 5 years now.
And you're teaching. Hope the essays have been marked before you came on the podcast. So, what is life in Doha like? I mean, I don't see it as too dissimilar to probably being in Abu Dhabi. It's not everything that Dubai is, but it's got a lot more calm about it.
I would say I know people who've lived in Dubai and that it's quite similar. It's just kind of like a shrunken area. I mean, you get from one side of Doha to the other in about 40 minutes. It's nice. I think as a club, we have a really close group of players, which really helps. I think most of us see each other on our outings, weekends, when we're not playing. So it's really nice, quite a community feel. You can't go out in Doha without seeing someone that you know, for the good or the bad. So, but no, it's been great. 5 years out here, probably a fair few more as well. So.
Yeah. And tell us about the club. So you guys have obviously been around for the last 5 years. You were joined the West Asia Premiership last year. Struggled a bit at times. It's awful start to the season, but then came good last week. Tell us about the journey that Doha RFC has gone. Well, Max, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it used to be the identity of Qatar. I mean, I know growing up over in Dubai, we'd come over and play the youth tournaments and the almost a little bit like what the situation is in Bahrain. The rugby club is the focal point. Then I think sort of COVID happened and a variety of other things and sort of losing that mainstay, that our own ground, sort of really damaged the club. But we've started to rebuild. We've had a few new lads come in this year, and the community itself is still relatively big. Ideally, we get our own place and our own patch, and then that will start to materialize. But I think that whole transition period that we're currently going through has sort of affected the club slightly in terms of the players they can bring out and the performance of the level of player. And as we know, compared to the job market over in the UAE, Qatar's market is relatively small, and the opportunities, they're quite tough at the minute, unless obviously you're a teacher or you're in oil and gas. So I do think that there's that's sort of the hindered it. But as I said, we've got a good group of players now. We're building to something. We've probably the largest influx of players we've had since mine and Raper's first year in the club this season. They're all keen, they're ready to go, and listen, it showed on the weekend. They put their body on the line, and we were able to come away with a result, and hopefully that pushes us forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, having that good result now. Exiles have been a bogey team for many a team out here, and they're always notoriously big and physical. Now, the game wasn't streamed because we can't get filming stuff over into Doha. It's not allowed to travel with the cameras and stuff like that. But tell us about the game, Matt.
I think it was a physical game. One of the areas we've struggled with in the past couple of seasons has definitely been our set piece and scrums. But, we fronted up, and I think first 5 minutes of the game, we scored a try off of a set piece, which allowed the backs to work, which I think has been, Max will probably tell you better than me, one of the big hindrances as a team is we've not had that front football for our back line, which we know can fire with the likes of Max, Mikey, Paulie and them. So we know it can fire. And as the game went on, we know that Exiles, based on their past two games, they come out really strong. And so we just had to make sure we weathered any early storm that they threw at us. And then the big thing this year is we've got depth. We've not really had that the past couple of seasons. So we were able to bring boys off the bench who could add to us. And it really showed, we were traveling to games last year with one or two subs, and it really showed having a full 8 on the bench really helped us. And it allowed us to continue that good performance that we put in for 20 minutes for 80 minutes.
Yeah, and will that trend continue? Because obviously, you've only played at home so far. Traveling has always been the issue for Doha. I think last year we talked. You just mentioned like 2 on the bench, 3 on the bench because of traveling. Is that going to get easier this season, or are you still going to face the same problem?
Fingers crossed. I don't think. I think until we come round to November and that first away game, pops up and the boys need to do what they need to do to get across. That will very much be an indication. We're quite lucky this year because we obviously our away games post Christmas they fall predominantly in February, and that's Ramadan, and so you can't get a beverage over here. So maybe that will entice a few more boys to sign up, book the flights and get across, because then at least they can have a couple of beverages over in the UAE, which we can't do over here.
Yeah. Now you guys are still, I call it the old school weekend. The UAE moved to the West's weekend, and you guys still have the Friday, Saturday. Does that complicate things, especially post rugby?
Yeah, it makes our job a bit more difficult in terms of trying to get teams over here and traveling, because obviously UAE teams want to come over and play on Saturdays because their weekend Saturday, Sunday, and it makes going out after the game quite difficult for us because most of our boys are in on a Sunday. So we're still able to enjoy the games with a few beverages, but it does make it a little bit more difficult, especially we have to play on the Fridays, and usually we're flying in and out on the same day with the midnight flight. And for some of us last year, I think me, Max, and 2 others got stranded in Abu Dhabi airport until 9 in the morning because they'd overbooked our flight, which wasn't ideal. So,
well, you'd be glad to hear that happened to the Quins then this season. They missed their flight, but apart from 4 of them, they all missed their return flight home. But
it bode well for us this year then.
Yeah, I think they may have hung around at the clubhouse a little bit too long and just didn't get there in time afterwards. So it's happening to them over here as well. All right, now tell me, is it weird playing with your coach?
Um, to be honest, not really, considering before Elliot took over last season, the season prior, we had two of our players were coaching. It's especially since we've been back in West Asia, we've only really had player coaches.
Yeah.
So you kind of get used to the dynamic. Um, the only thing that probably is a little bit odd is at the times because I mean Elliot does like to chat and he likes to chat to the referee specifically. So when you're on the pitch every now and then you've got to look at your coach, you're saying we're running this pattern, etc. But all of them you're going, mate, could you please just zip it because you're giving away penalties and we don't need this.
I was going
So
to
it is an
say, as a
interesting
10, you
dynamic.
probably have to yell at him a bit more when he's on the field and you're like, oh, can I cross this line right now? God.
But it's an interesting dynamic. I think he handles it very well. Like he's still sociable with us. It's not as if he's sees himself above anybody else. The dynamic is there. It works. I think everyone likes him. Everyone will listen to him off the pitch, and then we all put our body on the line together on the pitch. So I don't think it's really a hindrance in any way.
Yeah. So let's talk about your target games. Obviously, you said Bahrain's already a tough game. They are traveling. They're 3-0 so far. It'll be a rough weekend. Which games are you specifically targeting on? We know we should be getting a win this season. I'm going to put you on the line here, see if you can call out some teams.
I think for us, any home game we want to try and make coming to Doha as difficult as possible. But based off last season, I think Dragons and Sharks. I think we beat Dragons at home, we beat Sharks at home. Probably could have beat Dragons away if, I don't want to bring it up because I think Max has nightmares, but he did miss a kick last play of the game.
I think I was calling that game, so I remember it well.
Yeah, so I think Dragons and Sharks definitely two teams that we want to try and beat, especially on home soil. We know traveling's tough. It's tough for us. It's tough for other teams as well. So any game coming to us, we want to make difficult. And I think if we're not winning games, we want to start picking up losing bonus points as well. I think that's something we've lacked is those bonus points when we're not winning the games and staying in it for 80 minutes. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it up with the spice. Max, who is somebody in the West Asia Premiership that if you were a very good tackler, and I'm not saying you're not, but if you could put a shot on somebody, who would you most like to put a shot on? And you cannot say someone from Doha.
I got a lot of time for Toby Oakley from the Hurricanes, so I wouldn't mind actually, give him a little bit of a half break and let me come across the side and just absolutely nail him into touch. I think that'd be brilliant.
Fair enough. And Matt, same question.
I think it's Martin from Hurricanes, number 6. I think he's done a few socials with us. He's a cracking lad, but he seems to just always be out of my reach. So I'd love to get a good shot in on him.
And he's an absolute pest on the field, but he's class lad off it, so I can't fault him. All right. Let's do a couple of little bit more fun questions. Let's do a would you rather. Would you rather, I asked the girls playing, would you rather win every game of the season but not be allowed to have any socials, or lose every game of the season but have the best socials?
Lose every game.
Yeah, that was us last season. We lost almost every game, but we had the best socials. So
fair enough.
Lose every game, absolutely.
Yeah,
and 100%. A little bit more off-piste one. Would you rather have legs as long as your fingers or fingers as long as your legs?
Oh, I'm going fingers as long as my legs. I don't know why though.
I feel like you'd be able to catch stuff really well.
I just feel like I have to kick, don't I? So
yeah, imagine how well you could palm a rugby ball if your fingers wrapped around 3 times.
My legs aren't the largest anyway, so I should be all right.
Yeah. All right, and last one. Would you rather play in 50-degree peak summer heat in Doha, or have to tackle Jonah Lomu in his prime?
Like Jonah Lomu in his prime. We did that 2 weeks ago, and 3 of our boys almost went with sunstroke. So give me Jonah Lomu instead of playing in the summer heat.
Fair enough, Max.
No, I don't want to tackle Jonah Lomu. I'm going 50-degree heat.
Yeah, so you must be used to it now. It's been your whole life. All right. Okay. So last one before I let you go. Who are the biggest characters in the club at the moment?
It's a good question.
I think
Raper,
Osh,
Raper, take this
Osh
one.
when he's
Yeah.
there.
Oh God,
Osh when
yeah.
he's there, 100%. You hear him on the touchline is the biggest thing. Even if he's not playing, you hear him. He's a character. I think our new second row nonce is a character as well, especially off the pitch. He's brought a lot of life to the social area of Doha.
Nice. And
Oh,
how much golf are we getting in this week, Max? Is it a lot or just
I've as long as Bahrain go all right on me, then I've got a round booked in on Saturday. It's alternate shot, so we're looking forward to that.
All right, boys. That's top stuff. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you both. Congratulations again on the win on the weekend. As I mentioned a few podcasts ago, I'm backing you guys this season. I'm all behind Doha this season, so don't let me down. Added extra pressure, but no, awesome for you guys to win, and thank you for coming on the show.
All right,
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much
Thank you
for
very
having us.
much.
All right, good luck,
Thank you.
lads. Cheers.
Okay, thank you for the boys for joining us and for Saz's part in wrapping up the women's game. Let's get into the whole wrap up of the week. Okay, so we had Doha playing Exiles in Doha. Obviously, Doha got the win 24-5. They really fronted up this week, matching Exiles big boys for the physicality, and that was one of their goals. Obviously, you've heard they've got a few new boys in. So really matching that physicality. Getting away at halftime, it was about 14-5. Then they managed to keep going in the second half and put another 10 points on. So they get their first win of the season, 24-5 over Exiles, and they must be thrilled about it. Exiles, on the other hand, go 0-3, and this would have been a target game for them. This would have been the one they wanted to get the monkey off their backs and get back in the winning circle. So it's been a tough old start for Durant coaching the boys, and they need to find a way to lift. They've leaked a lot of points, especially later on in games. So something to think about. Maybe it's the subs, maybe it's the size, maybe it's just a few guys inexperienced, but that will come. But so Exiles with a lot of work to do early in the season. Congratulations again to Doha for getting on the winners list and getting off the bottom of the table. So good for them. All right, the other two games, they were monster scores. The first one, the Dubai Dragons travelled off to Bahrain Rugby Club, and Bahrain put them to the sword from the start. It was about 21-0 in the first 10 or so minutes, and that really shook the Dragons up early. They started fighting back. They put 10 points up themselves. Got into halftime around 20, I think it was 21-10 at halftime, but that was about it. In the second half, the floodgates really opened. Bahrain's big pack started dominating. They were out scrumming the Dragons quite well there, and a yellow card was costly, but just the power of Bahrain was too much. So that probably comes down to a bit. Rory Drummond. It was his last game for Bahrain. He's off to Hong Kong with the family, so we wish him all the best, and hopefully we'll see him playing a bit of rugby over there. So it's his last game for them. He skippered them, and the boys really lifted for him. They put 50 points on the Dragons, and the Dragons have been looking at a much improved team off last season, but travelling to Bahrain, getting belted was probably not on their to-do list, so they might be a bit cut up about that for the day. They really need the next 2 weeks to look in, because now they're 1-2. They've got to get back on that winners list. Excuse me. The other game was also a big scoring game. The Quins put 53 points on the Sharks in the Sharks' home ground. So, the Sharks came away with a try-scoring bonus point. They scored 5 tries, which is a concern for the Quins. Defensively, the Hurricanes and the Sharks have both put 5 tries on each. So they are leaking a lot of points, but this week they managed to score a lot as well. Putting 53 points on is nothing to be sneezed at. It's another game where there's more points in the game than there are minutes in the game. But well done to those guys for getting over the line. I mean, James McCarthy scored a cracker of a try. Johan Prestorius, he also got a really good try. But I'm going to call out Harry Smalls. you were playing against your old team, and instead of running around Peter Killian when you definitely had the opportunity to do that, you gave a woeful pass to Josh Hall. In my mind, that was a possible COM moment, for those of you who know what that means. But I believe it went to Yinka. I think he dislocated his shoulder in the first couple of minutes, so tough for him to get it. And Big Tyler seemed to come off injured, so we'll see what's happening with those guys. We did see Emosi missing. He's serving part of his ban for his punch for the week before, so he's obviously a big loss to the Sharks. But Quinn's come away, 5-point bonus point, so they're happy. They're sitting second on the ladder. All right, so that is the West Asia Premiership for the week. Again, we shout out to some of the great tries. As I already mentioned, James McCarthy. There was an awesome Bahrain team try as well. I think the young fullback, I want to say Jack Hocking, he started with a beautiful gap run and then managed to get some offloads, and it went through about 6 pairs of hands before Josh Petro finished on the outside. So that was a really good team try, and some good highlights. So don't forget, if you do see any highlights, you have any big hits or anything, tag me in them, send them in. I'm happy to share them, pass them on, and everything. So let's build the game. All right, now we'll talk Div 1. All right, some big scores in Div 1. So the Hurricanes played the Exiles on Thursday night. Now, I'm not sure why it was on Thursday night, but I have a feeling the Exiles will struggle at the moment with numbers. They had a lot of people leave last season, and I don't think they'll be able to field a first and seconds team on the same day many times. So I think that might have played into it. But the Hurricanes took them on a training night. It was 44-32, so the Hurricanes walked away winners with that one. Obviously, a bonus point try win there, and I think Exiles got a bonus point for the losing, but with enough tries. The next game was Bahrain hosted Shaheen in Bahrain. The UAE Shaheen put them to the sword. It was a physical encounter, and the score was 45-19. So UAE Shaheen winning big, winning away. Big statement piece for them. They obviously came into the league as monsters last season. So let's see how they go throughout this season. Their forwards seem to be performing a little bit better, and their scrums holding up a bit better. So we'll see how they go. The next game, there was no next game. The Sharks 2s forfeit against the Tuskers, so that's a 40-0 loss or win, depending on your perspective. It is the second game. Well, Tuskers haven't played a game yet this season. It's the second time a team's forfeit against them. We do know there's some ex-professional players and stuff like that, but from all reports, people just don't want to put people at risk. They had the preseason game against Dragons, which we mentioned earlier, and there's a lot of reports about how dangerous it was and how people were going out to hurt each other. Obviously, being an amateur league, people have jobs and stuff like that. If you're getting hurt and getting punched and things like that, it's just not like people out here playing for fun. If that's the way you want to play, it won't last long out here, and you just won't play rugby because obviously 2 teams are forfeit. Yes, you're getting the wins on the board, but doesn't mean much at the moment. So, but that's a 40-0 win. That's all hearsay. I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope to see the Tuskers playing soon, but we'll see what happens. Then in Abu Dhabi, in the capital, the Quins hosted the Dragons 2. So it's Quins 2s, Dragons 2s, and it was quite a hotly contested affair. It was a little bit of argy-bargy here and there. I managed to catch a little bit of it on the stream before the West Asia Premiership games. Dragons seemed to take their opportunities, scored 3 tries, got the job done. Quins couldn't make the most of their opportunities. Let down a little bit by their some poor play by their wingers, either whether it was tackling or catching the ball, just reading it a little bit. So maybe some work to do there for them. But they had a big forward pack, and that forward pack would be disappointed they didn't get the win because there's some good players in there who are looking to push for West Asia games. So they'll be disappointed, but that is what it is. So 21. So congratulations to the Dragons 2s. They've won 2 on the trot, I believe. And the last game of the week was the Dubai Tigers travelled to Al Ain. Now, Al Ain last season were quite good. big, strong pack. I think they got beaten in the semi-finals, and they have been a strong team for the last couple of years, but they forfeited against the Tuskers a couple of weeks ago. And this week they got absolutely belted, 59-7. If you're losing by 50 points, it's not a great day out. So hard luck to Alain, and I'm sure they'll come back stronger as they're a proud team out there. But they need to jump up. Questions will be asked about the Tigers as well. The Tigers obviously won the final last year. Now, they didn't place in the top 6 in the regular season, but they did win the final and chose not to get promoted after being demoted the year before that. After choosing to be demoted the year before that. So if they keep having a run like this, questions will start to be asked, are they in the right league? And my belief is we should have more teams in the West Asia Premiership than we do in Div 1. If teams are getting beat by a lot, at least there's a couple of those teams that is happening to. It can't just be happening to one or two. It should be it would even out the league a little bit more, especially for the teams who are having a tougher time up there. So that might be an option. But that's it from Div 1. The Div 2 games, the Hurricanes 3s hosted the Tigers 2s. That was a score. The Tigers won that 19-0. The Sharks hosted the Quins 3s. So Sharks 3s, Quins 3s. That was at Al Habtoor. That was prior to the West Asia Premiership, and the Sharks beat the Quins by 1 point. So they did that in Div 1 the week before and in Div 2 this week. And the other game was a whopper. Barrel House managed to put 103 points on the board. 17 tries against the Quins' 4th team, who are 6. Now, Barrel House has had 2 bonus point wins, so they are top of that league, but obviously they've dropped down a league. So there'll be questions asked about why they dropped down if they are going to continue to put on big scores on teams. So something to think about, something to look at, just to keep an eye on. If they keep winning big, it'll be a bit sus that it'll make them look like they wanted to be the big fish in a small pond. Saz already wrapped up the women's games. That was 31-12 for the Quins. So that was good. And then we will look at the tables. Okay, for the West Asia Prem table, Bahrain sit at top, played 3-1-3, 3 bonus points, boom, 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 so they sit on 15. The Quins jump into second, played 3-1-2, 3 bonus points, takes them out to 11 points. Hurricanes are third, played 2-1-2, 1 bonus point, which was on 9 points. Dragons played 3-1-1. With 1 bonus point, so they're on 5. Doha got a win on the weekend, so they played 2-1-1. They're on 4 points, and Sharks and Exiles have both got 1 bonus point. The Sharks are just above the Exiles on points conceded at the moment. So that is the West Asia table. You can see the Div 1, Div 2, and women's tables on my Instagram. Go have a look at those. We'll wrap them up a bit better as the season kicks in. Most teams have only played 1 or 2 games so far. With the women, the Quins got up top for beating Saints. Then it's Saints who beat Phoenix. And in 2 weeks' time, the Quins will play the Phoenix, and then we'll find out who's in the final of the women's 15 before we move into the 7s for them. Okay, that's a lot. Next week, we've actually got a bit of a break. There's most teams are off. In the UAE, it is midterm for a lot of schools, so which means all the teachers disappear, which means half the people disappear. So there is no rugby in the UAE this week. There is 1 West Asia Premiership game, and Doha is hosting Bahrain. So both teams coming off a win. Doha build that confidence, and I'm sure they'll be a little bit happy that Rory Drummond won't be running at them. But so it'll be a nice contested affair. You'll be able to watch that game on Bahrain's YouTube channel. So that game will be on, I think it'll be on the Friday, probably around 5 p.m. because they're both on their weekend is the Friday, Saturday, not the Sunday, Sunday. So they'll probably play on the Friday. I think it's 5 p.m. In Doha, and then they'll be able to enjoy that. So get watching that. And the other games this coming weekend are actually UAE. The UAE Sevens, men's and women's, are off to Colombo to play in the Asian Sevens Series. circuit, so we've got a fair few players going over there. Check out the UAE Instagram, or I've shared them as well at times. What times people are playing, have a look and support those teams. So well done to all those selected for that. Hopefully a few can stay injury free. But good luck for that. And that is all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you watch or listen from. And same with the Instagram. If you've got any highlights, any hits, anything, tag me in it. I'm happy to share it. Keep moving it on. Let's celebrate rugby in the UAE. All right. So, ma salama, everybody. Rugby. Woo!